Alright, so we got another algebra problem solving this equation. It's got some fractions in it, but don't let that discourage you. Don't worry about those fractions. Okay, so let's just dive right in. So notice that you do have a set of parentheses, so we have to deal with distributing this -8 through these parentheses here. So I've got, on the left-hand side, it stays the same. X plus 4 is equal to 2x. Now when I distribute this -8, I've got a -8 that I'm multiplying times 1/4. And I know I put that -8 over 1 when I'm multiplying fractions. And I do a top times top and a bottom times a bottom. So -8 times 1 is -8. 4 times 1 is 4. And -8 divided by 4 is -2. So minus 2x, because there's that x that's on that. And then a -8 times a negative of 4. Well, look at that. It's the same exact fraction, but this time it's a negative times a negative, so that's going to make a plus 2. But there's no x on it this time. All right, so what happens whenever I combine like terms? What happens with these two x's and these other two x's? It's minus 2x. They're the same and they're opposites, so they cancel out. That's always convenient. Hardly ever happens, but it happened this time. Bring down the rest of your equation. X plus 4 is equal to 2. And now I just have this 4 here that's bugging me. I got to get it up to the other side by subtracting. It's adding, so I do the opposite of that. Minus 4, minus 4. These 4's will cancel. Bring down my x is equal to 2 minus 4 is minus 2, a -2. There's my answer. And just when you thought we were done, of course it does say check it, so let's just go ahead and check. I'm going to switch here to blue. So on the left hand side, that's pretty easy. I gotta just plug in the -2 for the x. So -2 plus 4, -2 plus 4 gives me a 2. So this side, left side's equal to a 2. That's what the right side's supposed to equal if we did it right. So let's try. So I'm plugging in a -2 for x. 2 times a -2 minus 8, and here's where it might get a little tricky just because we have fractions and we have to deal with those. 1/4 times -2 minus another 4th, and then close the parentheses. So I got to deal with all the stuff in this main set of parentheses first here. So I still have this 2 times -2. Bring down this minus 8. And inside here I've got 1/4 that I'm multiplying times a -2. So 1/4 up here times a -2 over 1. So that makes it top times top, -2, bottom times bottom, over 4. Now you got to reduce it. 2 over 4 reduces to 1/2. Don't forget your negative sign. So in parentheses, -1/2 minus 1/4. Now I still have to deal with what's in parentheses. I've got minus and a minus, so these things are going to add up and still keep it negative. If I have a half and I add to it a quarter, like if I have 50 cents and I add a quarter to it, how much do I have? I've got 3/4. I've got 75 cents. So this simplifies to 2 times -2 minus 8, and this whole thing in parentheses is still negative, and then it's 3/4 when I add those up. Now I could do my multiplication parts separately. 2 times -2, -4. This time it's going to be a negative times a negative, so these will cancel and make it positive. And then again I need to do a little bit of math here. I'll put this over 1. 8 times 2 is 20, or 8 times 3 I should say is 24. That's over 1, not 7. 1 times 4 is 4. I don't know why there's an equal sign there. Come on, man. It's supposed to be a plus sign. 24 divided by 4 is 6. So this is -4 plus 6. And -4 plus 6 is just a big fat 2. That matches up with the other side, which means, yeah, man, we did it right.